Welcome to the Love, Listen, Talk, Repeat podcast. I'm Wendy Capewell, your relationship specialist, and this podcast is all about things relating and affecting relationships. I'll be interviewing guests who are experts in their profession, learning more about what they do and how they help others. In some episodes, I'll be sharing some insights and tips of my own. So settle back and enjoy. So many people tell me that they really hate confrontation. They shy away from it. And the reason is because they say it's going to lead to a problem. It's going to lead to a really big argument. It's going to mean that there's going to be discourse in that relationship, whether it's a work one or whether it's a personal one. I can't possibly say what I think. I can't possibly say how I feel. But they're confusing confrontation with conflict. Confrontation doesn't have to mean conflict. Yes, if you are forthright and accusatory, you're going to have conflict. So it's all about communicating. It's communicating effectively, saying what you think, saying what you feel, but in a way that it's more acceptable to the other person, more palatable. The problem that I hear so often, and I've been guilty of it in the past, is we just kind of make those snide remarks, just little digs, and we don't actually say what we're feeling. We just have a little dig at somebody in the hope that they will pick up on what we are trying to say. Oh, people tell me it's a gentler way of telling somebody. If you leave your socks there for much longer on the floor, they'll probably start growing fungus. Or are you cultivating some kind of new vegetable? That's really not a nice place to be. It's not a nice thing because, one, the person who you're saying it to isn't going to pick up on it. You haven't asked for what you want. And why should they even take any notice? Well, yeah, okay, could be. The answer is likely to be, yeah, could be. It's the same as if you're in a work situation, a professional situation. If you have that little dig, that sly comment, that without actually saying what you need, what you want. If you say it to your boss with that, well, I guess you're expecting me to do this. Oh, okay, I'll do this then, shall I? Well, your boss isn't going to be he's not going to be very responsive for sure. Because he's going to then feel that there is going to be confrontation. If he responds, then he can see it escalating. Whereas if you say in a work situation, I really don't feel comfortable about doing that, or is it that you're asking me to do that, and can we have a conversation about it because it doesn't fit with my priorities at the moment? Or is this a priority for you? Can we discuss it? The same with the socks on the floor. Can you pick your socks up, please? Put them in the wash basket or put them in the cupboard. That would really be helpful. I just see it's that around me constantly. I see those little digs instead of somebody actually saying what they want. They will just make those. It won't necessarily even be what they're saying. It can be in their body language, their responses. Somebody who might have been very warm and friendly with me starts being standoffish. they're not as friendly towards me. I haven't got a clue what the problem is. I don't know if there's a problem or what the problem is, but they're not actually saying what it is. They're not saying, hey, I felt uncomfortable about that, or, you know, I don't know what's happened, or I didn't like what you said, or whatever it is. They're just being standoffish. Well, unless somebody tells me what the problem is, I can't do anything about it. And actually, why would I? It's their problem, it's not mine. So I would just say to you, you know, really say what you think, say what you feel, because if you don't, it's going to really damage your relationship with that person. Not only that, but people will shy away from you if you just keep making those sly comments. Yeah. I remember quite a few years ago, I worked with a girl. She could be quite sarcastic, quite bullying, and those many years ago I felt really uncomfortable. You were waiting for the punchline constantly as to how she was going to get her revenge on something someone had said or did, and there may not have been any malice in it. Her favourite saying was, revenge is best served cold. And that's not a very nice place to be, because she used to say, I will wait for my opportunity, and that person doesn't necessarily know when it's coming. It's a very horrid place to be. It's a horrible way of behaving. That's not how we build good relationships. It's not. I constantly sat opposite her, waiting for her to dish out that comment, or how she was, or the way she was going to behave and set me up, which she did quite often. She used to see it as a joke, but I used to feel really anxious waiting for that. I used to, I really feel anxious, and it didn't make for a nice working relationship. So I would say to you, what is it that stops you from confronting the situation, confronting that person, and being clear about what it is you want to say, what it is that you want to ask someone to do, what is it that stops you from saying it? If you point the finger at somebody and say, you are not doing this, or you should behave in this way, or I'm angry at you, take a moment and think about what you're saying and who you're saying it to. Instead, it's much kinder and nicer, and you'll get a better response by owning your feelings, using the I word. I feel unhappy because you leave your socks on the floor. I'm feeling uncomfortable about being asked to do that extra work. You can have that conversation, and it's so much gentler, but at the same time, you have to tell somebody the result you want. So, for example, the socks are on the floor. Let's go back to that one. And I did say it. I feel uncomfortable. I feel unhappy. I feel that it makes more work for me. When you leave your socks on the floor, it would really help me. That's the result you want, and you're asking for it. If you would please pick them up and put them in the wash basket. Okay, teenagers have to be asked about 1,000,000 times. Yep, 1,000,000 times. But if you ask in a different way, it might be that you get a different result. Just by saying, you've left your socks on the floor again, I'm sick and tired of picking them up, they switch off, as many people do. If somebody is just being obnoxious, or just that unpleasant way of being, in a negative way, that negative talk, people switch off because they just don't want to engage in it at all. So if you want to improve not only your communication but your relationships, whether it's with your personal relationships, with your friends, with your family, with your partners, or whether it's with your professional relationships, then you need to change the way in which you respond to people. And confrontation does not have to mean conflict. I really hope you enjoyed the podcast today, and you can always listen to others by clicking on my website www.yourrelationshipspecialist.co.uk and finding the podcast on there. You can also learn much more about me and get in touch or sign up for my newsletter. So until next time, bye for now.